I've been a community board member for the Harewood ward since 2016, and it's just a fantastic position to be in, to get out into the community and to see so much variety in and around the community. When I chose to run for Environment Canterbury, it was because I felt that the issues around the environment, and particularly water, were very important to people, particularly of Christchurch and also of Canterbury. So for me, the issue of water is in three parts. The first part would be water bottling, the second part is water chlorination, and the third part is nitrates in water. So when it comes to water bottling, my issue with that, particularly because obviously the water bottling in Belfast has become an issue for Christchurch. My issue with that is around Environment Canterbury and their consenting process. So from a regulatory perspective, they haven't been consistent. And because there are rules, those rules should be followed. So when I became a co-founding member of Aotea Water Action, for me that was about the consenting process and the process that Environment Canterbury took and how it changed its mind. So for me, it's a legal question that needs to be answered, and then we can go from that. So when it comes to Cloud Ocean, my issue is specifically around the consenting process and Environment Canterbury and its role as a regulator of that market. And I feel that Environment Canterbury hasn't done the job that it should have done, and that is why we're challenging Environment Canterbury in court. When it comes to chlorination, it's a very local issue, particularly with Christchurch. Christchurch is very proud of its pure water. So the issue right now is that the government has changed its rules around that and its standards. The council has always been ahead of the game when it comes to keeping their infrastructure secure, but the goalposts keep moving ahead and keep changing. So now, unfortunately, just this week, we've heard again that the Chief Medical Officer of Health has asked the council to continue a very low dose of chlorination in our water for an extended period of time until we can make sure that the infrastructure of our water system in Christchurch is safe and secure. The third issue is water and nitrates, and I think that is the biggest issue and the most important issue that Environment Canterbury needs to answer for. Intensification, the number of animals that are on Canterbury land, is just too much, and it's producing waste, and that is going to our groundwater. And for me, looking at the scientific research, it shows that there is an increased risk, particularly of colorectal cancer, bowel cancer, that comes along with higher levels of nitrate. And those levels that could trigger that increased cancer risk is actually a lot lower than what Environment Canterbury's levels that they're trying to say that are okay. I don't think that's okay. I think my energy and my drive and my passion for particularly the issue around water and nitrates in water is what will be kind of recognised, and it's what I'm talking to people, and it's the feedback that I'm getting from people. The issue that they're really worried about long term, and it's in 50 years time, in 70 years time, and in 100 years time. So the other issue that Environment Canterbury deals with is public transportation. The short-term answer there is bus lanes, so that the time that you spend on a bus should be at least or even faster than when you travel in a car. I spent probably 9 years overseas in total. I lived in London and I lived in Japan for about 6 or 7 years, and that's where I did meet my wife. As a community board member, I can bring my experience of living overseas back here to Christchurch, and I recognise the challenges of people coming to New Zealand and coming to Christchurch and what they have to go through. Approximately 20% of people that live in Christchurch weren't born here in New Zealand, and that includes my wife. And it is difficult. I do recognise that it can be challenging to get ahead because there's so much enthusiasm and energy that people coming to Christchurch can bring. So my role as a community board member, I want to show the rest of Christchurch and the rest of New Zealand just how much benefit that immigrant people bring to our city. When it came to 2013, there were a lot of uncertainty, and there were a lot of challenges within the Christchurch City Council. and there was a massive change. And luckily, I think for us, Leanne Dalzell became our mayor in 2013, and that was a fantastic change of the leadership of the city. And I took a greater interest in local politics from that. And then during 2016, I asked Leanne if I could be a part of her re-election campaign, and she agreed that I could come on. And again, that was just a fantastic opportunity for me. The position that I took on was her campaign secretary, and I approached it from a business point of view when it came to communicating a message and kind of a marketing aspect to that. And yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity, and I was very happy to see Leanne, and she had a great majority, and it was absolutely fantastic.